sun may be setting in most parts of NA right now, but don't turn down the AC just yet because things are starting to heat up with week 2 of Contenders Summer NA Series. And of course, that is going to be round 7. My name is Sam Tonks. Joining me is 2 Tryhard Ray. We're going to be having the double feature of Pirates in Pyjamas going up against Dragon Dance. Then shortly afterwards is going to be Strix. So to start us off with talking about Pirates in Pyjamas, Ray, powerhouse right now in the contender scene, suffering only one loss, but surprisingly to Afterlife.
Yeah, this is the tale of two teams. Pirates in Pyjamas has just been dominant, talking with their managers and their coaches. It's due to synergy. They kept the same core from the spring split into the summer split. And because all the craziness happens in Contenders, so many players have been moving around and swapping teams that I think this synergy is really starting to pay off for them. So let's go ahead and bring up their roster as we talk about it a little bit more. Just looking at the power of this roster, they have Strider as their tank, and they have Erikek on the bench. Both of them form this amazing tandem of tanks. And then Chronic is their focal point on this DPS line. And I've been told by the team, for Zolik specifically, he has been stepping up as that leader and has been getting so much better on that main support role.
Yeah, it's we really do need someone to be able to step up in that way. And based on just what we've seen out of Zolik, having someone to lead the team for Pirates in Pyjamas, who's already been kind of a powerhouse in previous Contender Series, to continue to push that forward. And like you said, Ray, having a team that has this kind of synergy is so very important. It is so valuable when some of these other teams that we've been seeing literally formed like 5 days before the series itself actually went live. Now, let's go ahead and turn our attention over to Dragon Dance. Not quite the greatest start to the season, currently sitting at 1-5, but it's a team that, you know, once again, still trying to work through the roster difficulties.
Yeah, as Moving Fish, who's known as one of the better off tanks in Contenders in the tier 2 scene, has moved over to this team and is really trying to focus on getting better at that main tank. So I've always looked at this team as a team who's got a lot of talent, but it's going to take a little bit of time to make these adjustments. Petal making, I mean, they've been great in collegiate, but making their Contenders debut this season once again. I mean, not debut, but making their comeback is more of the word. And I'm very excited. This team has a lot of potential. Don't look at these records at face value. I mean, Dragon Dance's one win is against Good Boys, who's sitting at 3-3 or 4-2 right now. So their one win is against a good team. So don't take the records just off by what they look like.
Exactly. You got to dig a little bit deeper, and you got to get the understanding behind it and the full story, which is, hey, what we're going to be potentially seeing something happen tonight, right? It's Pirates in Pyjamas could potentially falter against Dragon Dance. We won't know until we reach that final map, until we reach the final round or whatever it's going to be. And so what is our map that we're going to be starting off with, Ray? Well, it's a fan favorite. Everybody loves it. Everybody knows it. I don't think that it's going to be too difficult here for either of our teams to get comfortable on, that being Lijiang Tower.
I think if you were to poll a majority of the player base in Overwatch and ask them, what's your favorite control map? I think Lijiang Tower would probably be the most dominating answer. So what a great map to be starting things out on. It lends itself very well to the two styles of compositions we've mostly been seeing in the contender scene, which has been either that Winston style composition or the Ramatra. And depending on the submap, both of these compositions are going to shine very true. You think Gardens, Winston absolutely dominates, but if we go to Control Center, that's more of a Ramatra Reinhardt based map. And then as we see in the background of this map, Night Market, it's whatever flavor you prefer.
Absolutely. And then diving a little bit deeper, when we take a look at both of our teams, Pirates in Pyjamas has so far been feeling pretty comfortable with whatever control map that you give them. I think really only suffering a major loss on Busan. So we're Lijiang Tower, potentially, right? It's a map that a lot of teams know very well, that sits close to their hearts. Pirates in Pyjamas, of course, looking to continue that win streak and continue to push themselves further inside of the series. Dragon Dance, however, of course, we're going to be seeing and wanting the same thing out of them. Ray, what are we going to get out of especially our tank Moving Fish, where they've been in that off tank position? It's been a few games now. They're getting more and more comfortable. The team is starting to synergize better with themselves. How is that going to come out here, especially on our first map, sub map of Gardens?
I do think it lends to Moving Fish's strength very well because they are pulling out that Ramatra-based composition. It looks like both teams are electing to go in that direction. For Pirates and Pyjamas specifically, I talked about how Chronic has been kind of the focal point on this team. Playing this Sombra, the Sombra is so important in a lot of these compositions. Being able to hack that Ramatra or, you know, the Baptiste, get rid of those really important cooldowns is a very big deal. And then this Reaper just applies so much damage to the enemy Ramatra.
And look how aggressive Dragon Dance wants to get onto Pirates and Pyjamas, keeping them on that bridge. It's really just making sure that they don't get any further than that. Moving Fish, though, caught with that hack, backing up towards the Immortality field to keep them alive and keep them safe. But for the moment, Dragon Dance has rotated their way onto the point, and that should, once it unlocks, gives them the point.
Yeah, and if you're Pirates and Pyjamas, because you're playing this Lucio Moira composition, you got to move in, you got to move fast and swift and quick, win these fights, because Moira has that limited heal gauge, and it's going to start to peek its head the longer these fights go.
It's, once again, a Dragon Dance going to be capturing it in the first place, but Zolik looking towards already having that sound barrier, and so he's going to go ahead pop for Pirates and Pyjamas. That's going to allow them to get into the face of Dragon Dance. You see Shaq using that amplification matrix, but what does Pirates and Pyjamas do? They just walk forward and completely nullify it. Look at how beautiful it is here from Pip, Ray. Unreal levels of dominance.
Just W key forehead. I wish all my comp games would go that way, where I can just W key forward and win the fight. But Pirates and Pyjamas played that very, very well. As you mentioned, completely getting rid of the value of that window. Now they get to come to this next fight. They have both EMP and Coalescence to commit into this fight. If you're Dragon Dance, you got to be very weary and waiting for Chronic to pop it.
Oh, but here it is. Chronic has popped that EMP. Everyone almost caught inside of that. Dragon Dance had no hope whatsoever. Ray immediately taken off the field, and this is going to be good enough for Pirates and Pyjamas to take the lead in percentage. Oh, a nice little stagger.
Very nice stagger, and to win that fight with only committing the EMP is what you want to see from Pirates and Pyjamas, already taking the percentage point lead as well. As Dragon Dance comes to this next fight, they got to take full advantage not only of this incoming annihilation, but I think using this sound barrier wisely, especially with the Coalescence Death Blossom you're about to run into.
All right, here it is. Scissors rotating around into the background, already coming up with massive value. Both of the supports gone. Dragon Dance, they use the annihilation. They use so valuable ultimate, but nothing is going to come of it.
Scissors just placed himself perfectly to get full value out of that Death Blossom, and Z-Man was there with the Coalescence to keep him alive through it. Even if the focus was good on him, it didn't matter. They had the ultimate to keep him up and keep him healthy. As Strider is now basically going to have a free annihilation, Onda has to use this sound barrier to counter it, and they already found Zolik.
Zolik may have gone down, but Strider still does have this annihilation that they could use. Onda has to make sure the team is alive with that sound barrier or be able to find something with it, at least, and that sound barrier is doing a heck of a lot of work, but Moving Fish's health is dipping into some very dangerous territories. Both of the Nemesis forms have been popped, but it's actually going to be Strider, and with the help of Chronic, to come out on top. Moving Fish has to go over towards the point, but really only so much that you can get out of, well, your entire team being dead, Ray.
As that is going to just be clean from Pirates in Pyjamas, showing why they're sitting at that impressive 5-1. Their teamwork is just impeccable. Even though they lose that Lucio very early in that fight, it does not matter. They had the players there, like you mentioned, they had that annihilation going. The Shaq not Shaq, Z-Man was able to keep them alive with the heals, and they were just able to ride that momentum, especially with Chronic just free farming these EMPs. As we now move to Night Market, both teams are not looking to change their tank compositions, but Pirates now are seeing the value as we move into a more close quarter brawl map of having the extra heals that the Baptiste provides, as well as the immortality field. And because of the close quarters, they're going to go to Mei to add that extra isolation of that Mei wall.
And we already know how dangerous Scissors can be on this Mei. Very quick from Pirates and Pyjamas to get onto the point where they want to set up for that Mei and give that wall the maximum amount of utility that it possibly can. Moving Fish is so pushed far forward. Strider may have been hit with the anti-nade, but they really don't have anything to worry about. You get hit with it, go back over to the point and play it safe. Play it with the Mei wall. XCal, that was a very scary place to be. Thankfully, getting back up into the air. Scissors has to pop the ice block caught inside of that anti-nade once more as we see XCal starting things off, getting that first blood, using the laser beam, and things are looking very good for Dragon Dance, especially with Strider caught down onto the ground. A little quick removal of that immortality field, and then Strider to be removed as well. Okay, Chronic.
I'm actually a big fan of this Echo Sombra little situation that Dragon Dance has going on, because you have all this damage output from XCal on this Echo, has the threat of that focusing beam. But then you have Petal, who can constantly disrupt, whether it's Strider on the Ramatra or Scissors. Mei is such a cooldown reliant hero with that ice block, with those Mei walls to, either isolate someone or protect themselves. So being able to take those cooldowns away and find these quick kills is very important. So I like what Dragon Dance is coming in here with, and they have a nano to use as well.
Exactly, Dragon Dance can give themselves that little bit of an extra oomph. It's going to be a hack onto Z-Man, but that hack is going to be good enough to finish them off. Moving Fish moving forward with that annihilation. It's just going to be so much pain happening here for Pirates and Pyjamas, but Dragon Dance kind of committing 2 ultimates to win out in this team fight.
I think it's definitely worth it, especially with the percentage you've already been able to gain, and you get to come into this fight, and you have the EMP to be able to use, which can win a team fight all on its own. So I feel pretty good about that if you're Dragon Head. Pirates and Pyjamas, however, have to take full advantage of this incoming blizzard.
Oh my word, they're not going to be able to. Pirates and Pyjamas already suffering the loss of Z-Man. Scissors just couldn't stand up to the pressure either. XL a little bit too close to Strider's very angry Nemesis form, but it doesn't really matter when Pirates and Pyjamas can't even look at the point, Ray.
Dragon Dance has really found their stride here. I like what I'm seeing out of Petal specifically, and just the team in general. Petal and XCal seem to be communicating very well to be able to not only focus up on the sticky bombs, but they hack the targets together, but they found Shaq. This is really bad.
Dragon Dance, a very disastrous moment for them to happen. Now Moving Fish to follow. XCal diving up into the air. It's just right into the waiting arms of Scissors and Chronic that's going into the jaws. The good news here, though, for Pirates and Pyjamas, Ray, no ultimates committed to take that point.
Yeah, I was about to say that this could be a long grind for Dragon Dance. You get it to 99% essentially, so you just need to win one team fight, but Pirates has a full chest of ultimates, and with proper ult rotation, they have quite a few fights in their hands to win.
Ooh, that could be rough for Strider. Stuck up on the high ground. Chronic inside of that overclock, already finding the head of Shaq. Let's see if they're going to be able to find another. Might be delayed out a little bit longer. Onda's sound barrier is going to keep them safe. Now it's turning their attention onto Moving Fish as they rotate away from the point. But guess what? Everyone from Pirates and Pyjamas standing strong and standing tall.
But nicely done from Pirates and Pyjamas. The way I look at it, Sam, you traded sound barrier for sound barrier, so that was just a net 0 gain. And all you used was overclock there to keep the point. So very, very nice job from Pirates and Pyjamas. Not overcommitting. They have the power of this blizzard coming in. Scissors, got to be careful. Got anti-nated.
Got to be careful. Playing a little bit with fire, but didn't get burned too badly. Now they're setting themselves up in the right position. Just go ahead, throw down that blizzard and start pressing W themselves. They just wasn't able to hit the ice block in time before they fall to the hands of Onda. Back into the back line. XCal is doing the miraculous work of getting a triple kill out of that. Strider may have gotten one out of that annihilation, but the entire team is gone. Now it's going to be up to them inside of this overtime to try and hold on for Pirates in Pyjamas, but them by themselves is going to make it so difficult. Scissors is going to get back over onto the point. Xcal is going to fall. Now Moving Fish pushing the presence, making themselves known onto here, finding the last little bits and pieces of Pirates in Pyjamas that's stalling out this overtime, and they're doing a fantastic job of that so far, but they can only do so much. Chronic falls. That's going to be it. Overtime is going to tick away. I say that, though. Strider is back over here, and so is Zolik. It's only a matter of time, Ray. It was only a matter of time, and now we're looking at a 1-1 Lijiang Tower.
I do think in the end that was a bit of a compositional difference. I liked the idea of the Mei coming in to night market specifically, but you just weren't getting the value you needed. They were attempting to try and wall off Moving Fish and isolate him, but it just was not happening. Moving Fish knew that that was their win condition and was playing very safe, very smart, and just not allowing them to get the value out of that Mei. And even the Blizzards, I mean, they got the one Blizzard that we saw full circle, got the Ramatra, but then went out and got themselves killed. So coming into this map where now we're going to get the Mei battle, the one thing that's going to be very interesting to see, Sam, is we're going to have the consistent damage output and hindering effect that the Cassidy brings for Petal versus these rail shots and one-shot potential that Chronic has.
Yeah, you're going to be looking at massive poke versus Chronic's more sustained damage, like you said, and it looks like the massive, as long as you're landing headshots from Petal, that's really all that matters. Zolik is gone. Where are you gonna go here, Strider? You've lost your Lucio speed boost. You're gonna have to try and stay in the face of them. Chronic wants to even things out, but you can only even it so much when your tank has been eliminated off. Pirates in Pyjamas already pushed back, and this is gonna be Dragon Dance taking the first capture.
Yeah, you just got to completely back up. You cannot push in without your tank if you're Dragon Dance. I mean, if you're Pirates and Pyjamas, that was great by Dragon Dance. I mean, you get the early pick off from Petal onto the support, and that pretty much sealed the deal from the get-go, as now we see Pirates trying to re-engage.
They're gonna have to try, get over onto the point itself, rotating around the center pillar. Give her the immortality field too. This could be something that they could look forward to. Xcal so low and get rid of Petal. Don't allow them to free fire off on the sidelines. Zolik wins out in the duel against their mirror matchup. Strider needs to back away just for the moment, give up a little bit of ground, and see if maybe they can disrupt and get rid of that amplification matrix and get them out of here. Things are looking even better for Pirates in Pyjamas. Chronic opens up with another kill onto Xcal, and now back over onto the point. Moving Fish inside of this annihilation could cause so much pain, but the Blizzard to completely nullify and eliminate it. For Dragon Dance here, Ray got to 48% before giving it up.
Very well played by Pirates in Pyjamas, but the one issue I'm seeing from them, Sam, is in these mid-fights, they seem to be splitting just a little bit too much for my taste, for my flavor. Especially when you're playing Mei Ramatra, they kind of got to be bound by the hip. And I see Strider trying to make, I don't know if he's trying to make a hero play or they're just not communicating well, but Strider's getting caught by himself too often.
Yeah, it looks like there's actually going to be another moment of that happening here. Look at where they are. On the stairway, separated from the rest of the team. It's going to be a sound barrier committed from Zolik. A little bit nervous about what could have happened there, and now Strider has the annihilation. May not need to use it, though. With the way that things are looking for them right now, just go into Nemesis form and start pushing the W key, or, yeah, just go ahead, pop annihilation, and scare away Dragon Dance.
I think that was necessary, especially when you lose your Mei, but now they've lost their Lucio, and it is looking disastrous for Pirates.
It could be. Petal has been taken down. Strider has to get out of there at all costs or be kept alive at all costs. An amplification matrix has come up in that high ground area, but now moving back down towards the ground. We're really looking at Pirates in Pyjamas in this rough position, and Chronic didn't get anything outside of that overclock. Still built up to another railgun shot, but if you're not getting anything from it, what more can you be looking towards? Especially when Petal is getting massive value out of the Sojourn when they've just switched over to it.
Petal absolutely carrying this lobby right now. Started on the Cassidy, now swapped over to the Sojourn and is finding just as much value as the Blizzard comes out for Scissors.
Scissors, that Blizzard, they may have fallen, but it looks like it's going to give Pirates in Pyjamas a hope and a dream. Strider came up with that double kill, now looking towards their eyes. They need to find Moving Fish, and found them they have. This point has been going back and forth, Ray. It seems like every single second.
Yes, but we come into this next fight, and it is so heavily favored toward Dragon Dance, Sam. They just gotta get in there and get this X-Cow Blizzard off, and they should be able to ride that momentum to victory. Pirates and Pyjamas' hope and prayer is a big annihilation from Strider.
All right, Strider is inside of that blizzard, getting a little chilly here. Moving Fish now annihilating under a lot of pressure, under a lot of damage as well. The Immortality Field did what it needed to do to keep them alive and going. It's just blocking things out. Xcal and Zolik have both fallen, but Zolik is going to be the much more detrimental pick here for Pirates and Pyjamas. They cannot get out, they cannot maneuver, and they cannot survive. Not even when Petal is hunting you down inside of this overclock. No one left, no one to stand, but still, Dragon Dance has 20% more to go.
And in the desperation for Dragon Dance, they had to use absolutely everything, Sam. They are relying heavily on Onda, trying to build up this sound barrier, because look at Pirates and Pyjamas. They have Amplification Matrix and Overclock coming online. They have the tools to bring this home.
They do have the tools, and it's a window that's already being popped by Z-Man. Fire through that, give your team the healing. Dragon Dance, though, the genius strategy, just push forward. Just deny them the ability to be able to use it. But Pirates and Pyjamas is not going to be denied the chance to get back onto this point. Strider is going massive here, just as much as Chronic is, who has been kind of quiet this entire time. But by the hands of this overclock, Pirates and Pyjama is going to take map 1, Lijiang Tower, 2-1. But Ray, it was a battle to get there.
And as you mentioned, Chronic, who I mentioned was the focal point of this team, very, very quiet on that third map. But when the foot needed to meet the pavement, came through with a big overclock, found 2, and now they are up 1-0 in a hard-fought fight against Dragon Dance. As I mentioned, guys, do just throw the records away. Contenders this season, it's probably been one of the most competitive seasons we've ever seen. So I feel like records cannot dictate anything when it comes to these matches.
Absolutely not. It's you can't look back into the past and get an idea of what things are going to be told in the future. No, that's not how it works anymore. You got to throw out the whole playbook. This is a whole new battleground and teams that are hungry for that victory. Now, that was still a pretty close map for Pirates and Pyjamas, maybe one that they weren't quite, you get a little bit nervous about that happening, but you know, Ray, maybe a little bit of warm up, maybe getting back into that, getting back into the groove of things. Dragon Dance, though, has to feel pretty good about what they were almost able to accomplish on Lijiang Tower. And so going into what our next map is going to be, that hybrid map pick, right? You got to think about what they want to do for them to be able to find the most success that they can get out.
And it's just going to depend, as we mentioned. Now we get into the part where it's all about, you know, as a team, what map do we feel is going to suit us in the compositions we like to play the best? As it will be the pick of Dragon Dance. I'm very curious to see where they're going to take this. If they're going to go more of an off-tank centric map, or do they try and go with the main tank? Because as we mentioned, their tank Moving Fish, very proficient on those off tanks. So maybe you take it to a place where the off tank can be a lot more valuable.
You got to think about that, right? But there's also the situation where you kind of have to put yourself in that main tank role eventually. And it seems like that is what's going to be decided here. We're going to Numbani. That is so far proven to be a very powerful Winston-centric map for these dive-style compositions. A great opportunity for Moving Fish as well to continue to put themselves into where they need to be to really start progressing, right? To really start getting comfortable with these main tank roles.
I agree 100%. And Petal, who's been extremely proficient on these hit scans, known for being a very good hit scan player, is going to have that ability to bring that, especially on the defense, defensively on that high ground and hit scans. They just rule the streets of Numbani. So I like the pick from Dragon Dance. The question is, because I mean, we actually haven't seen these two teams really duke it out in the Winston battle. So I'm going to be very curious to see how this goes. So if you're Dragon Dance, you can't afford to go down 2-0. I mean, We have seen a remarkable amount of reverse sweeps this contender season, but it is still very tough to pull off.
It absolutely is. I think for Dragon Dance, right, we kind of pinged Pirates and Pajamas here. The overheating that they sometimes like to do, they get a little excited. They want to go out there for the kill, or they want to try and put themselves in a position where they can push off Dragon Dance. So Dragon Dance needs to take advantage of that. They need to really push down those pressure points when Pirates and Pajamas gets out of position and punish them for those mistakes. Don't allow them to get away with that. And we saw them actually do that really well on Lijiang Tower a couple of times. Though for Dragon Dance, something that we may want to see too is they sometimes they get a little over eager in wanting to use all of the ultimates in the ult bank, right? So of course, they sometimes need to use those, but some cycling. Pirates and Pajamas did a really good job of that on Night Market. Sure, they didn't win, but it's that kind of next level tech that's going to give you that extra edge over your enemy.
I do think as we head to Numbani, which is definitely a more dive-centric map that we're headed to, in dive, just the communication and the synergy is so much, it's so important. Being able to call out those targets, coalesce on them at the same time, and eliminate them quickly. And I think that bodes well for Pirates and Pajamas, who I mentioned has been a consistent roster since the spring split. Dragon Dance is a new team who's brought all these players together, so the style of composition definitely favors Pirates and Pajamas as we're looking at what these teams are playing. Petal electing to go more of the sniper pick, but this is the Hanzo. It's not a hit scan, more of a projectile style hero. But if you're Strider, you got to be very careful because those storm arrows can get you down very quickly in a pinch.
That they can. It's a lot of damage coming at you all at once, and even tanks like Winston has to watch out for that. Pushing them backwards, Dragon Dance is going to back off, give a little bit of space to Pirates and Pajamas, and take them over here on this corner. Hit with the sticky grenades. Strider is now beginning their approach on to the attack of Dragon Dance. Try to flush him out of that corner. A really good anti-nade from from Z-Man, and XCal eliminated by Scissors, winning out in the duel against the Echoes. On to point is going to be Pirates and Pajamas. Already has the first tick of the Chevron, looking towards need more, but Dragon Dance just can't get back on the point, not when Scissors is just cleaving through them.
Yeah, that pick onto the Ana pretty much seals the deal. Very quick point take from Pirates and Pajamas as we see Stone coming into the match for these dive compositions. So Tracer Echo is what's on the plate, and we see the power of that Echo being able to control the skies. It's much harder for a Hanzo to go after, say, an Echo. The hit scan definitely that you would get from like a Ashe is a lot more stable and a lot easier to go after an Echo.
Yeah, exactly. Get them out there, get rid of
that swap.
Because you can. Yeah, you get over to that swap and you bring it in. You don't waste any time, and Dragon Dance so far has good recognition of that. Pushing the back over here, Moving Fish immediately push back with an anti-nade. Strider's not going to leave anything to chance though. Going to get back to their team, give them that peel that they need, and continue to push the payload forward.
Z-Man is on it with these anti-nades. The Nano comes in.
Strider hit with the Nano boost, but XCal is still going to walk away with one pick onto Zolik. Scissors down onto the ground, Moving Fish rotating back over towards the team. It's just Scissors has been doing a phenomenal job at picking off and isolating targets to get rid of them and come away with bigger picks of their own, but Moving Fish is still cleaving through the backline, especially when empowered by this Nano boost is coming up with so much.
What you gotta get at is the duplicate comes in, Scissors gonna dupe the monkey.
Scissors gonna dupe the monkey, but brought out, ripped out, Petal finally is very angry at what's going on here, is going to eliminate them almost immediately. Pirates and Pajamas, we're just gonna have a battle of the raging Winstons with no one really to come out on top of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that primal for Pirates and Pajamas. I feel like they kind of felt the pressure. We're so close to capping this point. If we pop this ultimate, maybe we can make it happen, and it just was not going to do the deal. As Dragon Dance now puts themselves in a good spot. They have control of the high ground, both their DPS ultimates to be able to use. As Pirates and Pajamas use so much, they just have this rally to work with.
And it was so tantalizingly close to that point B checkpoint. It's almost there. Now XCal is going to duplicate onto the Ana, but immediately slept and brought out of that duplication. It's going to be Petal putting down Bob. They don't want to go too dangerous here. Now we're seeing the 1v1 duel, kind of. It's actually Petal winning more so, but Strider isolates, eliminates, and has gotten rid of that pain point of Petal. Now back down towards the ground. Pushed out with the coach gun. Scissors is going to push away Moving Fish, but now they have the nano boost. They're going to go right into the backline. If you look over what's happening, though, Strider and Stone are destroying your backline.
Yeah, and to me, Sam, I think that was a big problem when it came to positioning for Dragon Dance. You had Petal all by his lonesome up on that high ground, had no brig, had no Ana protection. That's why you saw Strider just able to go that unencumbered and just take Petal out for free, basically. So for Dragon Dance, you gotta make sure you have that peel and that protection for your hit scan.
Oh, Strider, that got so dangerous for them. Almost taken out, but really at this point, you have to get out as quickly as you can. Pirates and Pyjamas suffering a lot of casualties. Dragon Dance getting back in control of the cart in a pretty ideal situation, Ray.
Not a lot of ultimates to be had, however, as Scissors is going to be coming in. Pirates has 3 ultimates. This Bob, it could put a lot of pressure if they put it in a really good spot to, like, in the back line.
Push them away. Stone looking to maybe start beginning the nuisance that is the Tracer. Xcal sees Strider by themselves, going to put pressure onto them. So has the recall up and available, ready to go, and Scissors winning out in that duel. Headshots pedal down into the ground. Strider right into the back line. Put the pressure onto both of the supports, prevent them from really getting any of the healing that they need.
As Scissors finds the pick on the Xcal, and that just opens the floodgates for Dragon Dance to, for Pirates and Pyjamas to push in.
And now Pirates and Pyjamas is just pulling them inside of the spawn room door. They really can't get out of there. And even though Onda has been nano boosted inside of that rally, Strider is just gonna Primal Rage. Continue to push them away, keep them away, and get that payload the final 2 meters that it needs. Pirates and Pyjamas Ray had a small misstep on point B, but once they got past that, it was just Pirates and Pyjamas all of the way.
That's one of the more impressive time banks I've seen on Numbani in these couple weeks casting contenders. 2.5 minutes. Pirates and Pyjamas has to be feeling extremely good about that time bank as we now swap sides. My question is, we saw Scissors play that Ashe eventually, got off the Echo to match the Ashe to go against Petal. Are you going to play that defensively here? Because I think the option to continue to play the Echo is on the field, and for a while, Scissors was absolutely running that lobby on the Echo before. I mean, it's tough on that B point because when you have the momentum and you're rolling, it's fine. But once Dragon Dance is able to collect as a group of 5, control that high ground, that's where it struggles for the Echo, and that's where we saw Scissors just have to swap to the Ashe. As I'm pretty much correct on that. They are going to play this Echo defensively, which I'm a big fan of. Stone and Scissors can continue to sync up. I mean, they've been, as you mentioned, just a tear in the backlines of Dragon Dance.
Yes, they have, and the good news here for Scissors, they don't have to worry about an Ashe just yet. Petal still gonna move forward with the Hanzo, either that or teasing me, and I'm gonna look like a big dummy here in a second, but Scissors really came out big on the Ashe, but their Echo gameplay was kind of what really helped them to even get point A in the first place. A double kill came from them, and that was just enough to make Dragon Dance second guess what they even wanted to do, force them to switch over to that Ashe just to meet Scissors.
As we start to see this high ground control that Dragon Dance is trying to take away. It's a good first step. They haven't been forced away just yet, and they have the cooldowns to now be able to go after some of these more squishy targets.
Indeed so, but Pirates and Pyjamas still holding strong onto this high ground. It's a duel of Moving Fish trying to get out of there with 41 HP. Doesn't get any closer than that. Playing with fire. Got a little burn, but your team is going to heal you back up to full. Xcal doesn't have the recall anymore. Needs to be a little more cautious in how they're going to approach out in this fight. Thankfully, the healing is numerable and is going to keep them alive. Back into the fight. Another recall is going to happen, and up into the high ground, Scissors is not going to survive. Moving Fish finds their target and gets rid of them.
Yeah, Strider's now been anti-nated, is forced to completely back out of this fight. So now the control is all in Dragon Dance's favor, but they're gonna have a chance to recontest here. And you have to go after Pedal. You cannot let him hold this high ground and just rain these shots down.
Speaking of raining shots down, Shaq is raining a nano boost onto Moving Fish, making sure that their team can capture this point, rotate back over towards Strider, who's also been given that nano boost, and even though Moving Fish wasn't able to get much out of it, now they're doing the same thing here. They've got the Primal Rage, and they're trying to put the pressure, but Z-Man, an unbelievable sleep, is going to try and stall things out once more. Scissors is angry. They're ready to start fighting. They're putting the approach in. Duplicate onto the Ana. Throws down the anti-nade, but slept. Shaq with just a little bit of HP, but the communication was crisp, Ray. Stone came in, hit the kill, and now back up in the air. Scissors is dominating.
I've actually loved these plays we started seeing in professional Overwatch play, where you see the Echoes go for the super aggressive nano dupe, or I mean, not nano dupe, Ana dupe. And then you look to sleep and throw those anti-nates into the backline. And it works so well for Pirates and Pyjamas, because then once they saw that, then it allowed Strider to push up.
It did. And once that happened, once they were able to push up, you just eliminate them. Pirates and Pyjamas back up on the high ground. Dragon Dance running out of time. Ray, they're at 1 minute and 30 seconds. And Pirates and Pyjamas, 2 ultimates, Moving Fish, anti-nated down to the ground. Z-Man is going to get the final blow onto that. And Strider ready to pop that Primal Rage. They dip dangerously low, up to full in an instant. That anti-nade is going to get them food for thought, regroup with the rest of the team, get their health back up to full, and just wait for the approach once more from Dragon Dance. But they only have just above a minute left.
And unfortunately for Dragon Dance, they just have not found the value out of this Hanzo that they need, which is that one-shot potential. We just have not seen that come through, but the Nano on the Echo.
Nano onto the Echo. XCal finding everything that they need and then some. A duplicate just in case they need it inside of the pocket, but they get to hold on to it for the point B push. Still though, Ray, it took so much time for Dragon Dance to get here. The Pirates and Pyjamas burned out so much of that is impressive.
I do think, you're feeling good if you're Pirates for how much time you're able to take off that clock. Dragon Dance, however, now has the momentum. They have the ults in their favor. XCal can now aggressively use this duplicate. Moving Fish has the Primal in their pocket, but they're going to have to move quickly and start regaining some of this time that they lost.
Oh my goodness. It looked like XCal was going to be able to maybe put even more pressure onto Strider, but no, the pressure has been turned right back around onto them. Strider back up into the high ground. Picks are going back and forth for each of these teams. They still have the support line though, and that's the most important thing, that sustainability. Strider being hit with the anti-nade again. It's always these Winstons under so much pressure and how much they can get away with, but still, it's going to be the Dragon Dance continuing to push forward.
As both these Echoes still have the duplicate online to be able to use. I think the key here is Zolik has this rally online, and that could be all the sustain that Pirates needs to be able to win this fight.
Oh, absolutely. Look at that boldness. Once Zolik popped that rally, you just go right into it immediately. But like you said, these Ana duplicates that XCal is in right now. Isolate Z-Man finds their target, now looking towards maybe being able to pick off Zolik, and Moving Fish diving right on top of that. It's just not quite good enough here, though, for Dragon Dance, even with the picks that they've made. Pirates and Pyjamas still finding more value out of what they're getting. And in the sky, Scissors, well, he's just cutting XCal down.
Very unfortunate for Dragon Dance. They, like you mentioned, they were getting some good picks in that fight, but I think Moving Fish getting focused down in that fight was the nail in the coffin. They get to come in, they have this Nano in their pocket, and they got to go after Z-Man. He's getting close to this Nano, wipe him out before he can apply it to his team.
Yep, don't give them the opportunity to be able to use it, but that's going to be easier said than done. Pirates and Pyjamas going to suffer their first casualty in the form of Zolik. XCal getting into that backline, but once again, Scissors is just able to win out constantly against XCal, where it was kind of flipped on its head when it came to the Ashe battle. Scissors did, of course, get that nano boost, just that little bit of extra oomph. Now Strider giving a little bit of time for Pirates and Pyjamas to get the reinforcements. The pulse bomb came out from Stone, but now we're going to get the rally from Onda to push inside of the building, and work together as a team to maybe be able to find something. But Scissors is the dominant one in the sky. Every time they see Exhale, they say, no, this is mine. But still, their wings have been clipped themselves. Dragon Dance just can't find it, though. Even when you have Moving Fish hitting that Primal Rage in the back line.
Yeah, they evened up the fight here, but losing Scissors, who had that duplicate in their back pocket, that means if you're Pirates, you got to stall here, but Moving Fish just found Z-Man.
That's going to be disastrous for Pirates in Pyjamas. Having to rely on Zolik is just not going to be enough healing for them. Trying to get out a quick whip shot pedal, not going to mess with that anymore that they need to. Sis is going to stall things out, hits the duplicate onto the Winston. This might actually be good enough. This anti-nade going to give them some food for thought, rotating back around onto the payload. The Primal Rage just there at the end of the duplication is not going to get anything from it, but still, how much this team is able to get out of it, how much Pirates in Pyjamas got out of that team fight, bringing Dragon Dance into overtime and even pulling out the nano boost from Shaq.
This is the big issue for Dragon Dance. They have just over a minute left on the clock. They got to complete this point with time on the clock, or they are in a lose or draw situation. The good thing for them is they were very judicious in that final fight about the ultimates they used, so they're coming up on 4 to be able to try and snowball this point.
Remember, it's going to be that ultimate cycling that we were talking about earlier, and that's one valuable way to start off this fight with a nice pulse bomb from Petal. It's all about getting the rest of the stragglers. Scissors all by themselves could not get out in time. This payload getting very close to the end ray.
As it all comes down to, can this nano primal monkey coming online for Pirates be the nail in the coffin to stop Dragon Dance?
Zolik got so dangerously low that Z-Man needed to commit the nano boost just to be able to keep them alive. Strider now looking for opportunities in the Primal Rage, and Excal, well, guess what? They've duplicated the Ana. This is going to give them so much value in just keeping their team alive and maybe even being able to use the anti-nade. Strider, in a disastrous moment, cannot find the pick onto Shaq. Instead, falls by their hand. Stone, you got this pulse bomb. It's a hope and a dream and a stick to blow up that monkey to Kingdom Come. At the very least here for Pirates in Pyjamas, they're going to be looking at an overtime, but they're not even going to be looking at that as they look towards map 3 with a victory here on Numbani.
0.04 meters is what that came down to, Sam. It was so close for Dragon Dance. That extra time you were able to drain off the clock and sustain that you provided with the nano and the primal bot time, and when the rubber needed to meet the road, Pirates came out with the picks in a very scrappy final fight, and now Pirates up 2-0 in the series now put themselves in match point.
It was an unbelievable map, though, from Pirates in Pyjamas. Numbani was basically their staging ground almost the entire time. And you look over at what Scissors was able to accomplish with that Echo time and time and time again. Almost every single massive team fight that they needed to come up big, they were able to do just that on that Echo. But then we look over towards players like Z-Man, right? That Ana, the anti-nades, the sleeps, constantly giving value for Pirates in Pyjamas to find massive value and to set up Scissors, Stone, Strider to come out with so much more than they would have had Z-Man not been able to do what they had done.
Scissors on this Echo has just been absolutely dominant, running the lobby. And interesting little part that I learned about Scissors is he's kind of that guy, like when you're in those tense situations, you're in that map 5, he's the guy who can come through with just the comedy to calm everyone down, you know, stop making everyone so tight. And you need someone like that on the team. And it really shows in, you know, how well this team plays together and his performance as a player.
Exactly. When things get tense, right? They can be very rough. They can be very mess with your mentals in a very big way. And so to have a player like Zolik to defuse that situation, defuse the situation, that is sometimes worth its weight in gold in giving that team the sustainability mentally as well as physically when we move on from that. Now, talking about what could potentially be our final map for the evening, as Pirates in Pyjamas is on series point, winning out in the first 2 maps of this evening. potential staging grounds here, Circuit Royale, and Ray coming back in for Stone is going to be Chronic, looking towards getting that more hit scanny DPS.
Yeah, it's no surprise to me at all that we're going to Circuit Royale. Moving Fish is one of the best Sigmas we have in Tier 2. I'd say it's like him and Cowman are the two most dominant Sigmas we have in the game for contenders. So it's no surprise they're trying to go to this map. And I mean, they have some very talented DPS hit scans. I mean, Petal has been fantastic. We saw on Lijiang Tower, Petal could not do more to try and give Dragon Dance that victory on Lijiang Tower. So I think this is a good map to try and turn things around if you're Dragon Dance.
And then I think, when we talk about the accolades of Petal, what we saw on Numbani even, winning out in multiple one-on-ones against Scissors on the Ash, which is a feat in and of itself. They didn't quite have the same success when they were up in the air as the Echo, but you put a hit skin in their hands and they're going to come up with so much out of it over and over again. And so now we look towards potentially what could come out of Circuit Royale, a map with long sight lines, a map with maybe being able to find more value out of a Widowmaker, and if they need to, potentially even an Ashe. And we've seen how well they can make even other hit scan heroes like Cassidy, like Sojourn, play in ways that if they need that in their back pocket, especially when you go into the hotel of Circuit Royale, Sojourn finds more value. Petal can do it.
Yeah, as we're getting very close to getting these teams, and the Circuit Royale, I think defensively, especially on first point, having that high ground to be able to easily control and take advantage of for these hit scans is the key. And it's about trying to limit that and looking for your hit scans to find a quick pick and force back that defending team and buy yourself space. And that's going to be the name of the game for either team as we head into Circuit Royale.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing with Circuit Royale, right? There's a couple of areas that's going to be hot spots for where the actual team fights themselves are going to be happening. Biggest one, obviously, in my mind that comes with Circuit Royale is going to be just right before the point A capture, point A, a checkpoint. And so for the defending team, which is going to be, I believe, Dragon Dance here, for them to try and hold on and hold off against Pirates in Pyjamas, where we're going to be really looking towards is how well Sigma Moving Fish is going to be able to protect teammates Shaq and Onda, protect their support line, and we're also going to be hoping that Petal and Excal are going to click the heads.
Clicking heads is the idea in these poke hit scan style compositions. As I don't want to speak too soon on Pirates in Pyjamas, they are definitely set up to play a Sigma. So yeah.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
So really, we're looking at a battle between Chronic and Scissors versus Excal and Petal. But I think what could be a major playmaker for this is these Sigmas and how they place these shields to try and give their hit scans the angles they want to take, especially for Strider on this attack since you don't have the high ground control.
Yeah, Scissors on that Hanzo is just going to burn through the shield of Moving Fish. They've already tried to rotate over into a prime position, but this is just really rough for Moving Fish to get out. Thankfully, they were able to. The Miscretion Rock from Strider is going to actually let Moving Fish get away from there. They throw in the accretion of their own, and we've already seen the first blood happen from Excal onto Z-Man. Pirates in Pyjamas going to back up for a second and give some space to Dragon Dance.
Yeah, and that's probably the most crucial opening pick you could find, is completely taking out their heals in Z-Man. So it makes Pirates in Pyjamas have to back up. But in the meantime, they have still been able to keep this cart pressure, which is very important in these compositions.
All right, Moving Fish and Strider throwing out both of their accretion rocks, both of the support lines. All right, Petal, that's what we needed to see. Up in the air, maybe another one. But no, Chronic is actually going to be the one to win out in that duel. The high ground is under their control, and he may be in the air, but not for very much longer. Unfortunately, though, Dragon Dance Pirates in Pyjamas, without that little bit of extra support from their DPS, just really can't push forward. Moving Fish is that stalwart block, preventing them from making that happen.
as both of these, I mean, just look at Moving Fish with the advantage on the Flux. Is about to be able to use it. However, Zolik just got to this Transcendence in time, so it should be an equivalent exchange.
Exactly, equivalent exchange. There we have it. Moving Fish gonna pop it, and Zolik, the equivalent exchange has been given, but it's also been taken. Chronic is looking for an exchange, and they found it onto the face of Petal. Excal is gonna have to use this amplification matrix maybe to be able to even things out, but no, the window actually turns itself right back around into the face of Excal, and now Strider is all coming up big time for Pirates and Pyjamas. The patient game, the waiting game, has come out with a point A capture.
I mean, very well done. Strider getting that accretion rock on a Moving Fish mid-flux was a big plus coming into that. Because, I mean, you had the Transcendence up, but you don't have the pressure that it puts onto the team. So then you're able to just fully allow these hit scans to take free reign, and Chronic and Scissors came through in a big way.
Just like Excal is coming through in a big way, picking off Zolik in this initial team fight. No Discord orb for them to worry about, but Pirates and Pyjamas, Ray, still has 3 big ultimates that they can use here if they need to. That amplification matrix to give themselves the opportunity to push Dragon Dance away from this high ground position. We're also going to see Excal using the dragons right away, cutting off some space, separating and isolating Pirates from the rest of their team. It looked like Strider was caught inside of that, but using the Gravitic Flux, going to be good enough to take out Moving Fish. Now the window through a quick accretion rock, and Strider is having the time of their life.
Unfortunately, that was pretty much every single ultimate you had in that fight, as we see Scissors now swapping over to the Genji. Now that they have this, taken this high ground control away, the ability for Genji to be able to dive in and finish off these hit scans and put pressure on them, they see a lot of value in that, but they're going to have to deal with the Shack Transcendence.
That they are. Strider under a massive amount of pressure. The immortality field needed to be committed, but Petal finding the pick that they needed onto Chronic over and over again. Excal trying to look for one after another. See Scissors on that Genji, and now a prime isolated target in the form of Zolik. Cannot get back to the rest of the team. Is going to rejoin it inside of the spawn room. Scissors now without much health, only to fall. Pirates and Pyjamas got so close, Ray, but so far.
Petal is just finding these picks in the middle of the fight on this Widow and is setting up for success for Dragon Dance. And this is where things get extremely tough for Pirates and Pyjamas. Dragon Dance now have complete and utter control of this high ground, Sam, and they're going to have to find a way with this Sigma shield and find a way to just slowly push and try and take this high ground away.
Yeah, push themselves up there, and you really got to worry about players like Zolik or even Chronic, who could get their head sniped off by Petal, who's been doing a fantastic job of themselves to match up against the god tier levels of hit scan that is Chronic. Moving Fish does have this Gravitic Flux ready to pop and ready to go. Zolik inside of that Transcendence got it just in time, but Chronic is going to win once more in this Widowmaker duel. Up in the air, sniping down against anyone that they possibly can find. Pirates and Pyjamas just needed a little bit of time, and they've gotten point B.
And getting Moving Fish out of that fight when they did was very important, Sam, because they were going to be able to recontest. Petal would have been coming back, but to take the tank out of that fight basically sealed the deal. As now Scissors going back over to this Genji once again, seeing value, especially where there's easy access to this high ground via the walls that Genji can climb up. This is where Genji finds that value to be able to try and go after Excal and Petal. But they're going to have to be careful because they can see you.
They can see you, and that's always very scary, Petal. Waiting, seeing if there's any heads. Chronic is playing around with fire, wants to go with it, but neither of the Widowmakers are going to really want to mess and touch with that fire. The payload is moving ever closer to that point C, that final point to get over towards. Scissors has had enough of Petal's craziness, and what he flex ray, unreal levels of reflexes to land that, and Strider with their own Gravitic Flux, seeing if maybe they could be able to take out Excal, but no, they're going to survive, and they're going to take Z-Man along for the ride.
Simple geometry as we see Strider trying to bounce those spheres off the walls, but there's just so much pressure. He's going to eventually go down.
Yeah, you're stuck inside of that room. There's really only so many places that you can go. Moving Fish found the Zenyatta. Scissors just almost got out of there, but not quick enough. Moving Fish really showing what they're capable of on this Sigma.
As Scissors, very close to this blade. This might be the win condition they're waiting for. Unfortunately, you're going to have this Transcendence to deal with if you're Shaq, so you can completely just counteract it. You don't have a Flux to try and force it out.
Yeah, and now even worse here for Pirates and Pyjamas, losing Zolik. Xcal, that's a nice sonar arrow from them. Petal goes up in the air, still no heads to be found. Scissors has even things back out, taking down Xcal. They, once again, though, like you said, Ray, have to worry about Shaq. Needs to get that Transcendence out, but Pirates and Pyjamas still stalled out at this corner with less than a minute to go.
As we now see the Flux coming in for Moving Fish, trying to make something happen, but there's no confirmed kills.
Yeah, it just puts themselves up onto the high ground. Maybe a better position where they wanted to go. Now Scissors using the Dragon Blade, but of course, it's going to be the Shaq Transcendence to keep the team alive. And Xcal is going to put Scissors down into the ground. Nothing to be found outside of that Dragon Blade, but a lot to be found out of Strider's Gravitic Flux, eliminating Moving Fish. And now where they suffered defeat in the hands inside of that room is now ready to put it back onto Dragon Dance. Still though, Z-Man going down, losing a lot of healing. This final little bit where the defending team is going to have the reinforcements for themselves. Chronic, Strider, Scissors, and the rest of the team is going to have to come up big to keep them alive. And Zolik, with that Transcendence, is going to be able to do just that. Moving Fish actually had to switch over onto the Doomfist to get back onto the point fast enough. And if we look at that kill feed, Xcal getting that headshot pick onto Scissors is going to be even more valuable, especially with the Dragons pushing forward. It had to be Moving Fish taken out first, and Chronic is coming up big time to make that happen. Zolik, not one to be left out of the conversation either, gets a double kill of their own. And how did Pirates and Pyjamas do it, Ray? Just at the final little meterage here in overtime, gets what they needed. It's like what we said here so many times, Ray. When Chronic needs to step up, Chronic steps up.
The important exchange in that final fight, Sam, it's going to sound crazy, but it was Scissors going in there and blading and dying. You know, you think, what? He went in there and blade and died. How did that do anything? He forced out the Transcendence from Shaq, and that allowed Strider to be able to use that Flux, and he got a kill and got so many low, was able to get 2 picks out of that. And then that allowed Pirates and Pyjamas, as you mentioned, they're able to push up. Then you pop that window and Chronic is able to just do Chronic things and just snipe those people through the window. So very important. You know, you may have died, but you forced out a key ultimate if you're Scissors.
You got more value in your death than you did in life. Pirates and Pyjamas understanding that and using it to its greatest effect here, obviously being able to take that payload all the way. Not an easy feat to accomplish here on Circuit Royale. Bad news here for Dragon Dance now. They need to do that same exact thing, and it looks like Pirates and Pyjamas is in top fighting form, especially when you give Chronic and Scissors the opportunity to abuse these long sight lines.
Keep in mind, Pirates have their win condition. Stop Dragon Dance from completing this map, and they get to move on to round, what would this be? Rounds 2, 4, 6. This would be round 8, and they'll be at a nice, clean 6-1 record. Dragon Dance has to finish this map and bring us to extras to try and get this reverse sweep going.
It's going to be now or never for Dragon Dance. This one map right here is going to determine everything. This one round is going to determine everything. Pirates and Pyjamas, though, of course, looking to stop that in its tracks and continue this march towards dominance in the Contenders Summer Series. And it's looking like, for Dragon Dance right now, doing a pretty good job at that. Pirates and Pyjamas, however, still making sure to stall things out at this bridge. Neither side has been able to find a pick just yet. Moving Fish dipping in and out of the natural cover until Petal comes alive and finds the head of Scissors. Rotating back around, Strider is still staying alive, but Moving Fish inside of these open sight lines did a lot better in this early initial Sigma fight against Strider, and it's looking like it's no different here once again.
If you're Pirates, this is your opportunity. This final round quarter, you're going to have all your spawns back, and this is where you can put your pressure, your hit scans, and you get Moving Fish.
Oh, Moving Fish caught with the accretion rock. Not the most ideal situation. Scissors, what was that? Disgusting is what that was. Dragon Dance all going to fall, all going back to the spawn room, and Pirates and Pyjamas has pretty much the payload for themselves.
I am Hanzo. I get headshot. As very very well done from Scissors. As Pirates in Pajamas now gets to take this upper corner, which is the very more defensible one you want to be holding, and then they're allowed to put their hit scans in a very good position, and they're going to have to deal with dueling windows for this next fight from both teams. So who can take full advantage of these matrices coming in?
Exactly, who's going to find more value out of it. But with Onda's immortality field being taken out first, Dragon Dance has to stop for a second. If they don't have that immortality field going forward with the amplification matrix, that much more dangerous. And pushing it so far forward too. But guess what? The gravitic flux is going to create a lot of damage. Strider took so much out of it that they kind of had to back away. Otherwise, they would have fallen from it. The important thing to note though, Chronic is taken out. Xcal, Scissors taking down Petal, Moving Fish, fighting for their dear life, and now Chronic is pushed forward. Control of the bridge, you better be watching your heads. Oh!
As you know, we've been highlighting a lot about Chronic because he's been playing fantastic. But in that fight, Scissors was the one who was finding those picks in the mid fight when all the craziness was going on with those double amplification matrices, both Flux absolutely whiffing. It was Scissors who came through with 2 big time picks as they're scouting. They're expecting that little the little hook shot that we see from most of the Widows, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But if you're Dragon Dance, you get to come back. You have this dragons that's used, but you also have the transcendence.
Exactly. Dragons to get paused for a second, but Scissors still has theirs to be able to use. Push them off of the payload, and it's going to be a Shack Transcendence to nullify the damage from these dragons. Good news is here, Zolik still has their Transcendence to use, and now it's the Petal infrared sensor, maybe to be able to pick off a head, but the only one whose heads are going to be flying is actually Moving Fishes. Petal is still so dangerously far pushed forward, but they are so desperate to get the kill, to get the pick. They may have gotten it, but that's your tank. You can really only do so much.
Yeah, but they've lost Moving Fish, so they can't even afford to push up just yet. And that was just a bad communication play from Dragon Dance. When the Dragons came out, they used both Transcendence and Immortality Field. They were not communicating on which one they wanted to use to deal with the Dragons.
Okay, Petal, we're seeing you right now, and so is Chronic. They're seeing your head. Without Zolik, Pirates in Pajamas, a little bit more of a rough position. That amplification matrix Xcal can use. The off-angle position that Scissors is in right now is putting so much pressure, also distracting Dragon Dance. They had to look over towards them, and Strider, Chronic, Scissors are coming up so massively here to close things out with Circuit Royale and get Pirates in Pajamas a 3-0 victory against Dragon Dance.
Gotta be feeling incredibly good if you're Pirates in Pajamas. Get to move on to the next round, 6-1. That is very impressive as they're trying to close out week 2 with one of the best records in the Contenders Summer Series as we near closer and closer to those playoffs. That seeding could matter greatly as we move forward.
It really could. So you want to put yourself in the most ideal position that you possibly can. And it looks like Pirates in Pajamas really wants to make sure they get into that ideal position. And after what we've seen tonight, what we saw last week, Ray, and of course what we saw last night from Pirates in Pajamas, they have been seemingly unstoppable. Really just the one roadblock gave them a little bump, but that's all it was. Just a bump. Pirates in Pajamas looking very strong, looking very indomitable.
And to me, it comes back to that synergy they're able to bring forward from the previous season. Keeping the core together makes for quite a formidable team. Even if you come across a team who might have more talent, not that Pirates in Pajamas are untalented, their players are cracked, they're crazy, but the synergy matters so much in Overwatch, everyone being on the same page. But while we have a moment, congratulations to Pirates in Pajamas once again, but I don't know if we could do this right now, but can we bring up all the games that are going on right now, just so we can give you guys a quick update on how these games in round 7 are tuning in as they currently stand?
Yeah, that would be great, and it does look like we have that. The round 7 matches are coming up, and you can see across the board, 0-3 Splash continuing their undefeated streak against Strix with a 3-0 matchup. And it was like you said, Ray, it either goes 3-0 or it goes to map 5, and 0-3 Splash continuing that trend once again. Good Boys versus Worldwide looking like it's sitting at 1-0 right now. Saints sitting on their series point against Wisp. Afterlife Rift 1-1. Amplify versus Timeless 2-0. And of course, we had the Pirates and Pyjamas versus Dragon Dance. It said 3-2, but has been corrected to 3-0. So round 7 looking like it's starting to close out here, and already things are looking very, very interesting, Ray.
And just keep in mind, as we're about to head into a break for you guys as we get set up for the next match against Strix, we have other broadcasts going on at the same time. The Timeless versus Amplify is live on the Timeless channel. We have I believe the Good Boys one is live. Even on the main broadcast, Afterlife and Rift are going strong. So make sure while we're on this break, check that out. Make sure you get a snack, grab some popcorn, because like we mentioned, our next matchup will be against Strix, coming off that 3-0 defeat to 0-3 Splash. Can they turn it around? We'll find out when we come back.